Armored Core doesn't waste any time just throwing you into the deep end. From the moment you put the game on, you're prompted with the ultimatum: survive this test or die, and the game will end there if you fail. Holy crap. And people think Dark Souls is tough. There's no holding your hand through this test either. No in-game prompts to tell you the controls or when to attack like some modern game. No, this is all down to your raw skill as a mecha pilot, and I love it. Armored Core's biggest stumbling block is definitely the controls. For new and maybe even old players, you have to remember that Armored Core was released in a time before analog controls, so From Software had to come up with another way of making the controls work. So to look up and down, you'll have to use L2 and R2, and to look left and right is the D-pad left and right. It will take some time to adjust, and it can be quite frustrating for the first couple of times you play, but if you stick with it, you'll eventually get used to it. Armored Core's story is set in some post-apocalyptic future where some great war happened, and now corporations have taken over power, namely two corporations, Chrome and Murakumo, who constantly battle each other for total control. This gives the Ravens, a mercenary group of skilled Armored Core pilots, plenty of opportunities to make cash as they take contracts from various corporations. That's pretty much how the game pans out. You'll take contracts to keep your AC ticking over and even upgrade it. Every bullet you fire and damage you cause will be part of your bill. There's nothing worse than being in the red. That means I'll have to pick the toughest mission no other Raven is willing to do, but pays the most to get my ass out of debt. Trying to take on multiple mechs while underground in a tight compact area, trying not to blow up a truck full of dangerous gas. Yeah, I've had better ideas, but I managed to pull it off, and that's when you feel damn good about yourself and what it means to be a Raven. How about a mission where you have to tiptoe around these little cute robots, which by themselves are harmless, but because they're around massive oil tankers, one little explosion for one of them can set off a chain reaction and see the whole place go up in smoke. You have to be very patient and wait for that right moment to take them out. Another mission I enjoyed was going after these mutated alien creatures that have made their nest in some city. You have to travel deeper and then deeper, not knowing the way. All you know is that you have to venture further into the ground, trying to dodge and take out as many as you can on the way, till you eventually find the queen waiting for you at the bottom, and she is not pleased by your visit. She won't be going down without a fight, so you'll have to give her one. I just loved the sense of exploring and not knowing what I was going to find around each corner. How about taking a contract mission where you have nothing to stand on but the very thing you're trying to protect, in this case a giant blimp. You are literally flying in the air trying to take out other enemies, but if you fall off that blimp then it's mission over. This game challenges you in so many ways. Your skill as a mech pilot will be pushed to its limits. That's what makes the game feel so rewarding when you beat these missions. It's not just simply blowing up other giant robots. Your endurance, timing and patience will all be tested. I guess this shouldn't be a surprise since this game was developed by From Software, who of course became well known with the Dark Souls series. Funny because there's a mission in here called Dark Soul. Not only that, but in one of the other missions you can find the legendary Moonlight Blade. Remember, this game came out in 1997, Dark Souls came out in 2011, so either From Software have a time machine, which in that case we need to send Van Damme around to their HQ as the time cop to give them a perfectly timed roundhouse kick, or what I choose to believe is the fact that they're just masterminds at game design. Again, in one of the missions, the one where you actually find the Moonlight Blade, and believe me when I say getting to that is tough, the level design sure does remind me of some Dark Souls. It really just blows my mind. The mission pretty much sums up how grueling Armored Core can be. It's full of devious traps and it's a long haul to get through. Finding the Moonlight was one thing, but then trying to get back to where I needed to be was another thing. The enemies down here, while not many, are extremely tough to defeat, and I found that by the time I reached the boss that I had no ammo left, which resulted in me failing the mission. You see, Armored Core is very much a real take on mecha combat. You're not going to find extra ammo or energy lying around in levels. No, what you start with is all you will get. That's why planning what you take out with you before a mission is very important. A mission might go for way longer than you think, and it's not out of the question that unknown enemies might randomly appear that weren't in the mission briefing. Lucky then that Armored Core houses probably the highest level of customization for a mech game on console. I can only think of the original Front Mission set of games that come close to this. Other than that, nothing else matches Armored Core's level. You can pretty much change everything you want, weapons, head, arms, legs, generator, target lock-on system. When you get into the game, you'll be spending lots of time here as it goes way deep into power management, weight and other factors. The game's age does make it a bit rough around the edges, but it's a very good looking game for its time and is perfectly still playable. I own both the Western and Japanese release. The manual is really good at explaining a lot of the lore and equipment you'll be using. I've noticed it's slightly creeping up in price, but it's also available on the American PSN PS3 store and the Japanese one. It's not on the European PSN store for some bizarre reason. I would say play the game any way you can. It's not a pick up and play game. Armored Core is for those players who are looking for a serious challenging gameplay. I understand that is not for everyone, so just be aware of that. Many people think back to the PS1 era and think of games like Final Fantasy VII or Crash Bandicoot as the top tier games, and those are great games, but I truly believe Armored Core belongs right next to them as one of the strong pillars that made the PlayStation brand the juggernaut it is today.